Well after I left school, I came across another scientific paradigm that was developed 100 years or so later by Johann von Goethe, and the characteristic of this stream of science says that this, that we all have one of, is your principal instrument of science. And the whole point of education is to be able to calibrate it so you can actually trust it and use it quite objectively. And wine tasting is a good example. All wines are judged on taste, which some people would call subjective, but having spent some of my youth in vineyards in Germany, we took wine tasting very seriously, and we'd start at 6:30 in the morning, and sometimes we'd go through till 2 o'clock in the morning, yeah? And after a year or so of that, I really could taste the difference between different wines. And a friend of mine, when I came back to Sydney, invited me round to dinner. He's a real epicure, I'm not. And he put this bottle of wine in front of me, and we went through all this, charade of smelling and tasting and sniffing. And he said, "What is it?" And I said, "Oh, well, that's a 1976 Johannesburger Hull or whatever." And he nearly fell off his chair because I was within 500 metres of where it came from, on a vintage that I had never been to, like it was after I'd left Germany. All I had was the descriptor from my German friends. Yeah? So I'm no great foodie, but you can learn to taste wine. Yeah? You can train this instrument to be quite specific. Yeah? And also, just as an aside, I was taught Newton's theory of light when I was at school. 100 years later, Goethe was given a prism like we were at school. He looked through it and said Newton's wrong. And he spent 30 years developing a theory of light and colour, which is still not taught in school to my knowledge. But that's the science that's driving all the leading optic fibre technology and the next generation of computers. But they're still not teaching it in school.